everyone. Welcome to 8 Days a Year, a podcast where me and a couple of my mates come together and record a year's worth of podcasts, 52 episodes in the span of 8 days, which is approximately 7 to 6 episodes a day, which is crazy. Why are we doing this? Because we're crazy. We're dumb, dude.
Because we're idiots.
Yeah, pretty much. We have nothing better to do with our lives.
Yeah, and
but sit here in my attic and record podcasts.
Yeah. And it's we're recording on the dates of the 1st of December to the 8th, this 2020.
Yeah.
But we're releasing it all in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Just episode each week. So let me just introduce myself because you guys probably don't know who we are because we're just unknown people. I'm Jason.
I'm Brandon.
And I'm Liam.
So yeah, like we're recording. I explained it. Today we're celebrating
New Year.
New Year's Day because the podcast is coming out on New Year's Day.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Yep.
Happy New Year.
Happy 1st of December.
It's looking bright for some of us.
What is the date and time of right now?
Yeah, it's
that we're
1st of
recording?
December. That's why I said
It's
it.
the 1st of December 2020 and it's 1:04 p.m.
Also known as New Year's for us.
Woo! We started a bit late today. It's 1 p.m. But freak it, dude.
Let's do it.
Let's spend this time on New Year's Day reflecting the previous year or the current year for us.
Oh, yeah.
Right? What went on? It seems like it was a pretty uneventful year this year.
Yeah, pretty boring.
Yeah, it was
really.
super boring.
It's like nothing happened.
It's not like a pandemic and a forest fire happened in our own country twice. What?
We got what happened at the start of the year with random fires?
Forest fires.
Yeah,
It was an interesting time.
Actually, as an environmental biology student, I kind of
Here we
have
go.
like a bit more of an insight onto that.
Oh, big dick time.
Oh, big dick energy time. Let's go, boys. So pretty much the reason why it happened, and I don't know if you guys knew about this, but is because the government just did not fund the RSA enough. So they weren't doing enough like smaller fires to maintain the disturbance throughout the year. And as a result, there was just a lot of overgrowth, and as a result, that was like a huge what was I gonna say? Like, it's just a larger fire hazard when there's more trees around. Like, it's bigger fire hazard, and as a result, you get like lower biodiversity as well due to the lack of disturbances throughout the year. And yeah, that's pretty much what caused the devastating fires. We weren't making any of those like preventative measures, and it really bit us in the ass, especially this time around. Like, climate change is definitely something that affects us Australians a bit more than other countries, I would say.
Yeah.
As for one, a lot of the species that actually live here are endemic, and what that means is they are only found here in Australia and nowhere else in the entire world. That doesn't just go for the animal life. I mean, like, the animal life is very obvious because like Australia is like 95% marsupials, which are pretty much not found anywhere else in the entire world, except for like the US and Papua New Guinea and other islands close to Australia. But like, even then they're only found in small numbers. But it's not even just that, it's like the plant life as well. And considering that we have all of these species that are only found here, we should be putting a lot more of our cards on the table, I guess, and like trying to preserve them all, because I think like as an Australian, we should be proud of our country's heritage and like, the wildlife that we have here. Maybe that's just me. I'm also a very non-Australian Australian person. But yeah, that's pretty much why the forest fires happened. And when they did happen, we didn't do a very good job at maintaining them anyways. Like, for one, our prime minister was in freaking Hawaii, like, during that entire freaking time.
Oh my god.
And as soon as he came back, like, there were so many people, like, going up to him being like, oh, please fund the RSA. Like, I'm sorry, like you have to. And then he was just like trying to shake he was just like, all right, I see you're distressed.
Do you remember that?
That's my ScoMo accent.
Oh yeah.
He's like, all right, I see you're distressed. And then the woman was just like, I'm not going to shake your hand unless you fund the RSA. And he shakes her hand anyways. And I was just like, what the fuck, dude? It was dude, that man was like, you know, I don't know how to explain it other than just like he didn't want to confront like the actual problem. He just wanted to be like, yes, I am a nice person, let me shake your hand. Just wanted to kind of look good instead of actually dealing with the problem.
Yeesh.
And I was just like, when I saw that, I was just like, oh my god, dude, just do what she says. Is it that hard?
You were there when the fires were happening, right?
Yeah, I was in Canberra on a holiday. We were going to go to... I remember we went to Melbourne first, and we started seeing... You know how they would always play the map on the news to show you where they currently were?
Yeah.
And we saw it like starting to sweep in the eastern states and, coming up towards the cities. We were like, oh, it'll be fine, you know. Well, we had to continue on our holiday. Everything was booked. So we continued to Canberra, and then our plan was to go to, I can't remember the town, but it was like a smaller town in Victoria. Even though we came from Melbourne, we just wanted to do the cities first. So we went to Canberra. And I remember we were in this top floor apartment, and my dad was on the balcony, and there was, these not open windows, but just clear windows because we had the curtains open just overlooking the city. And I remember specifically, it was on like the second day or whatever, it was almost apocalyptic. It was like the world's ending, like, because it was completely clear. You could see everything. It was like the sun was starting to set, but it was quite clear. And then just all of a sudden, this massive black smoke just in like a split second just consumes the entire thing. Like, it wasn't even slowly. It was just, you're dead. And we were like, are we in the afterlife now? What, are we in hell? What happened? And I just remember my dad just being like, what? What
happened?
So it was really interesting. But then it started getting really bad because it started naturally seeping into everybody's homes. And so we were there basically getting smoked. So like for the last 2 days, we couldn't go anywhere. We didn't have anywhere booked. We moved the booking from that smaller town to Melbourne, and we were like, we'll just go to Melbourne rather than the small town, because the fires had actually gotten to the small town. You weren't allowed to go there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we planned to go to Melbourne. We had to wait 2 days, and the smoke would just seep in, and you could smell it, and it got really bad where it was like we were just there like I honestly thought I was going to choke out in my sleep, and that's not even like an exaggeration. It was hardcore. I could not breathe. It destroyed my voice. I had to sleep with like the blankets over myself as a filter to try and get fresh air because I couldn't sleep. And then we got to Melbourne, and my throat, I was like coughing really badly, and my voice had like completely died, and it was really bad. And I just remember like we looked out, and there would just be like families walking their kids in like this massive black haze when like the news said, don't go outside, whatever you do. And then there's just like parents walking their kids on the street. And
This is in Melbourne?
This was in Canberra.
Yeah.
It was insane. Then we drove back to Melbourne, and we slowly drove out of the smoke and got to Melbourne, and it was nice to be able to breathe. But then it started coming, the smell started coming in on those last couple of days. But it was insane. You felt like trapped. It was really, really interesting time.
That must have sucked, dude. And I looked at the stats. Only like 35 people actually died throughout the forest fires, but
luckily
of those 30,
not luckily, but
but of those 35 people, like I think like half of them are firemen, like people actually dealing with the fires. And there were, I forgot the statistics and how many people were like injured from the fires, but the statistics for animal or wildlife death was like in the billions.
Yeah.
It was like at least like, oh my God, I think I'm gonna screw this up, but I think it was like 3 billion animals that died throughout the forest fires.
Yeah.
That includes like livestock and things like that. And the livestock, you'd think like, dude, they're on a freaking like grassy patio. Like, how the fuck are they gonna like get burned on or whatever, right? But like,
yeah.
But the thing is, it's like you said, because of the smoke, it just fucking consumed the air, right?
Yeah.
They couldn't breathe.
It was insane.
So they just all died because they couldn't breathe. That's how bad it was.
It was really bad.
Damn, dude.
And there were like fire tornadoes as well, because that's how hot it got.
Yeah,
with
it was crazy.
The forest fires. Holy
fire
fuck.
tornadoes.
Fire tornadoes, dude.
Jesus Christ.
Holy fucking shit.
Yeah.
I had a funny
crazy.
story about the fires. I'm so out of the loop with the news. Like, I don't watch the news at all, that I had no idea there was fires on the East Coast. I would have never noticed if no one told me. Like, how I found out, we were playing, what was it? Freaking scribble.io with some people, with some mates. I think with Josh as well. Or someone. I don't know who it was, like earlier this year. And someone drew a picture of Australia and then drew a little fire on the East Coast. And I was like, what is that? Is that a meme or something? He was like, oh, don't you know there's fires on the East Coast? And that's how I found out, dude.
Yeah.
I had no idea, dude.
How did you? Well, you found out because you were there.
Yeah.
I found out. I was actually ironically away at the time with my ex on vacation in Brunei, and I just saw the news and I was just like, holy shit, this thing is like this thing is happening back home and it's like a worldwide phenomenon. Like everyone was talking about it.
Yep.
And all I can say is like, to all those that were affected by the fire, like my condolences.
We feel for you.
We feel for you. Yeah. It was a tragedy that affected our nation, and hopefully in the future we'll see positive change in that area, and our government will actually take conservation and environmental policies more seriously. That's what we can hope for, at least.
Yeah. Frick, dude. But what else happened this
2020.
year?
Hell of a year.
All right, moving on to the next thing.
Incident number 2 out of 9.
Because the thing is, right, as soon as COVID hit, everyone stopped caring about the forest fires.
Yeah.
It's really funny.
It was interesting.
Man. Dude, crazy. There was should we talk about it? The BLM?
I don't know much to say about it, but yeah.
Well, I think, I don't know.
I don't really follow it, but
I mean, it's very interesting that it became a thing here as well.
Yeah.
So it started off in the U.S. due to police brutality.
Yeah.
And I don't know much about the stats in the U.S. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
Maybe we should. Sorry, but we didn't even specify Black Lives Matter.
Black
should we
Lives
do
Matter.
the thing?
Black Lives Matter.
So like we might need to start the conversation again.
Right. Okay.
It's fine. We just elaborated just then. It's
All right.
Okay. Yeah. So the Black Lives Matter movement started in the U.S. because of police brutality.
Yeah, with George Floyd, was his name?
No, it started long before that.
Yeah,
Really? Did it?
but like it kicked off
Black Lives
2020.
Matter.
Oh,
I
It's
know.
been a
but I
movement
mean,
for the
like,
longest time.
True.
I know,
Yeah.
but, like-
it's been a thing for the longest time. That's right.
Definitely, yeah. But like the George Floyd
Oh,
thing,
yeah, that
like, kicked
incident.
it up in 2020. And there was riots and everything
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
streets. That
Yeah.
was crazy.
Yeah, that was insane. And then it became a thing here in Australia due to the Indigenous community wanting to have a voice due to apparently similar things were happening here when it came to like the police, and like the police were like, I don't actually know that much about this. Like, okay, just a disclaimer, we're not experts. I'm not an expert.
No, we're not.
But like, apparently, there were a lot of accusations towards the police that they were particularly targeting indigenous people, as opposed to like other races of people, purely because they're indigenous, and arresting them. And then I heard of this one incident where I think it was like, I forgot which of the eastern states this was, but it was one of them. And this indigenous guy got arrested, and while he was in the car, like in the police car in custody, he actually died of heat stroke, like because they just kind of left him there. Now, when I think about that, I'm not entirely sure whether that can be like considered police brutality. In my opinion, that kind of sounds like just a really unfortunate accident, but still I do feel like because the guy was in police custody that they should have taken responsibility for that.
For sure.
Yeah. So yeah, but I'm not entirely sure about the rest of them. Apparently a lot of the indigenous deaths in prisons, they're usually due to, I think it was either suicide or just like really, really bad conditions at these prisons. And we've talked about like private prisons, and like the issues surrounding those. And essentially it's kind of like, they take these people into like these privately owned prisons that are really dodgy in the sense that they're set up by people and sort of like they don't have the same like government regulations and so I was gonna say, so like, and these people setting up these prisons are doing it to make a profit. So the more prisoners they have, the more money they get from the government, and therefore they have an incentive, instead of rehabilitating these prisoners, to make them come back. Like once they've done their sentence, these people that own these private prisons have more of an incentive to cause these prisoners to actually commit crime again so that they come back, sort of like a repeat customer type of thing. And it's really dodgy. It's like they set up these really, really bad facilities in these private prisons and pretty much make the people there just have really bad mental health so that they, get out of prison and just do the same shit that they did when they were free in the first place. So I don't know, man. It's like, I kind of feel like the Black Lives Matter movement is kind of just a result of that, like a poorly managed one prison system and two police force system. Yeah,
especially in America.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking about it in the Australian context.
No.
I don't really understand the American context very well.
Well,
I don't think either of us do.
Yeah, I've heard policing is a lot worse in America.
Right.
I
don't know. Like, so let's say you were a police in America, right? Because America has guns.
Yeah,
right?
That's exactly it.
And so let's say you're like, you go up to some guy and he's like committing a crime or whatever. And then you're like, freeze. And he's like, all right, let me get my wallet out of my pocket. And he reaches down to his pocket. What is your reaction? Are you going to think like, oh shit, he's going to get a gun?
Probably,
right? And so what do you do then? Are you going to shoot him?
Depends how much pressure you're under. everybody copes with it differently, right? Some people could just wait, and then as soon as you can tell if it's a gun or a wallet very quickly. You know,
Right.
So,
But if you're in that situation,
well, I'd wait until I saw the object.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like, do you think that well, if the guy was reaching for a gun, wouldn't he just like very, very quickly just boom, just like try to kill you?
I don't know. It depends on the person, doesn't it?
Like, would you take that risk, or would you like just so like you have confirmation that that person wasn't holding a gun?
It depends on the context. I don't know. I've never held a gun at someone, so I don't know.
Me neither. But that's kind of the argument that is kind of like playing devil's advocate in that.
What like I don't familiarize myself too much on the Black Lives Matter movement or what's been going on, but like I remember like listening to a podcast or something about it.
Yeah.
And about how like there's like peaceful protests, but then there's people rioting, which is a different thing. And it's like it was kind of, it's obviously not helpful to do all that stuff. Like, cause you hear stories of like people, like, cause you would hear stories from America of like small business owners and things.
Yeah.
How they have to like board up and they have to like try and protect their stores because there was people rioting and looting, and that's not helpful at all to like, you know, to spread their message or whatever. That's just like ruining small businesses. But it's just people, it's just like arsehole people trying to take advantage of like a shitty situation, this fucking rioting situation.
Right. Yeah.
But there was definitely some peaceful protests with people, you know, and it was like during COVID, so people had masks and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, there's some people who got too hectic. Didn't like Jake Paul get in that, dude?
Did he?
There was allegations that Jake Paul was like hanging out with people who were freaking looting and rioting. Dude.
Oh my god! You know what? That sounds so much like fucking Jake
like they were
Paul.
vlogging it or something, or like Instagram living it or something.
Oh my god!
But like I saw a clip where somebody, he wasn't looting himself, I don't think, but he was like documenting it, quote unquote. But like somebody like stole like a bottle of alcohol or something,
right?
Allegedly, or like I think they saw it and then gave it to him, and then he was just like vibing with like a free alcohol bottle.
Oh my god. What the fuck, dude?
Man, dude.
Why would you do that?
That doesn't sound out of character for him.
I mean, yeah, but like what kind of, oh god, the freaking Paul brothers, man, like they're so obnoxious. And like I just like, man, the more I see, the more I don't like. You know what I mean? It's one of those things.
Yeah.
Like I saw like I saw one of Logan's videos like ages ago before like all the drama happened.
Yeah.
And I thought it was pretty entertaining, right? He's a very entertaining guy. But the thing is, like, ever since like what was it, like his Japan videos, right?
Suicide Forest.
It's not even just the Suicide Forest. It's like all of his like pranks in Japan. Like he put like a fish on like a taxi or some shit like that. And I was just like,
kind of disrespectful.
he was super disrespectful, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like every single time like I see something with like the Paul brothers now, I'm just like, not again. Like, can they just stop, please? Oh god.
Yeah, I don't know, but let's go to the big one, guys.
All right.
COVID-19.
COVID-19 affected the whole world, everyone, Australia included, everywhere, basically. I mean, like, because no one's allowed to fly anywhere, basically. So, like, affects everyone, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I managed to get back just before. I managed to travel around and go on vacation just before COVID. So like, I got that sweet satisfaction of traveling just before. I'm happy about that.
That's that Brandon luck, dude. Only Brandon, dude.
When I traveled, I got smoke inhalation.
Only Brandon. Only Brandon, dude.
Yeah.
That's the shit, dude. That's the quote, dude.
It's really funny. While you were like suffering in the smoke in Canberra or whatever, I was like in Korea, like snowboarding.
Yeah, there you go.
was like complete opposites, dude.
Oh man, only Brandon.
Oh, but
So-
anyways.
Where did it start? From what I remember.
Oh, so it's
Oh,
really
here we go.
funny. It's really funny because
No, where did
COVID start? Wuhan, China.
Wuhan, China.
And it's really funny because my uncle was actually in Wuhan, like when it happened. Like he was there
Nice.
at the
He was
source.
there?
He was there at the source. He was at his
Wow.
wife's family home,
Wow.
and he was like,
Is he alright?
yeah, he didn't get it. And their whole family didn't get it because they just self-isolated really well.
Wow.
But yeah, oh my god, I do find this so fucking hilarious that he was there at the fucking source of the virus, dude.
Wasn't there like a specific location that was pinpointed, like a marketplace or something where it came out of?
Maybe, I'm not entirely sure, but apparently, and this has been like scientifically proven that it came from bats. It came from eating bats.
Yeah.
Eating
And
bats.
and the reason why bats, yeah, I know.
Why do you eat bats? Just don't.
Dude, yeah, no, I
just don't.
I don't agree with that at all. Like Chinese people are fucking crazy, and I can say that because I'm Chinese ethnically, and like, yeah, it's been proven that bats have a susceptibility to diseases, and the reason for that is because of their really high metabolism that they have to have because flying takes a lot of energy, right? And birds are able to get by this because of like they just have like different mechanisms. I'm not really, I need to review this, but basically in mammals we don't have the same like mechanisms to allow us to fly with less energy, like in a more energetically efficient way. So when mammals fly, it's like the same as like us like actually like moving our arms back and forth multiple times.
This is a cut because somebody said something factually wrong or something embarrassing, and there was no other way to cut this because it would sound unnatural. So here you got this instead.
That's pretty much how COVID started because we decided to eat bats, and that's
Nice.
not a good idea.
Go humanity.
Yeah.
There's so many things you can eat, and you go into a cave and find a bat and eat that. Nice, dude. Nice, dude. Just mess it up for the whole world, dude.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
God damn,
It
dude.
was an interesting time.
Yeah.
COVID-19.
Yeah.
The whole isolation thing. I remember we had a movie night just before we went into isolation because we knew it was coming. Do you remember
Oh,
that?
yeah.
We all went to Jason's
Oh,
because we were like, we'll do a movie night every week. We did it 1 week or 2 weeks.
We did.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
we
great.
did 2 weeks.
And
great.
We
at
watched
the end,
Parasite, and oh no, that was before.
The first time we watched Parasite, the second time we watched Primer.
Yeah, hell yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, and I remember at the end where we're like, it's coming. I guess we'll just talk on Discord for the next 6 months then. And we all went our ways, and that's exactly what we did.
Yep.
Bunch of Jackbox.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We played so much Jackbox.
We really did. Yeah.
Holy crap.
It was an interesting time.
Good times, dude. Great.
Man, I really missed you guys during that time.
Yeah.
We're holding hands right now for audio listeners.
And we're shaking them for
We're shaking
no
them.
apparent reason. We're just weird. There we go. There we go. We've reconnected now.
Oh my god.
Podcast complete.
All right.
I saw that, like, there was like, sorry,
Yeah,
I'm
no.
away from the microphone. there was this meme, dude, like they had, they were showing all of the confirmed cases on like a graph, and it was like a live graph, so like, well, in like freaking however many speed, like a faster speed, but like showing all the numbers go up for different countries.
Right.
So the initial one was like what, China, right? So it was like how like all these cases, and it was like this funny meme where like everyone's low, but then like there's like one that's really large, like China, and then they were like putting they put like initial D music, initial
Yeah.
the freaking racing drift.
Running in the
Anime?
90s, Deja Vu.
Yeah, like that anime, and
Yeah.
then you just see like. You see, like, what is it? Like, I think it was Italy or something come in, and you see the US go zoom, like all the total cases went bam across the screen, and then they just obliterated everyone. And
Nice.
there's so many, dude.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
The U.S. did the worst by far. Oh, well, no, there's also Brazil and like a bunch of other third world countries that didn't do so well. But for a very developed country, like the U.S. did so
Such
badly.
a shame. Yeah.
Like
We did great.
We did
well,
great.
WA specifically.
No, WA. Holy
Fantastic.
shit. Mark
yeah.
McGowan.
Mark McGowan, fantastic.
What a solid bloke. Shout out to Mark McGowan.
legend.
Great premiere.
Oh my god. No, it's because we we literally split up WA into like multiple sections based off of population density, right?
Yeah.
And then like didn't allow for travel between those sections. And then on top of that, we cut off like interstate travel.
Yeah, and our isolation really helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like because we weren't allowing anyone to travel literally anywhere, we were able to just like hunker down and get our numbers as low as possible.
Yeah.
And that was why we were able to continue mining. And in fact, our economy grew during this pandemic. Unlike the other states. The other states did terribly.
God, dude. Didn't like in America? Didn't they think it was like a scam? Like it was like a,
Oh, I
it was
don't
all
know,
a
man.
ruse, a conspiracy.
It
that
was. I don't know
COVID
what you're
was
talking
fake,
about.
dude.
I didn't get sick. You're lying.
What did these dude? They were like, don't wear masks or whatever. It's like, Jesus Christ. They were like so divided on that.
Yeah.
Frick, dude. So what? So we
Let's talk about our isolation.
All right.
isolation,
stories.
dude.
Isolation stories. Okay, you start, Jace.
Me?
Yeah, dude.
I don't know. When we went to isolation, I told everyone like, you know what? It's just gonna be a breeze for me. 'Cause I like being alone. I can handle being alone and just chilling as long as I got a internet connection, some video games. I'm good. I can just spend all my time indoors. I don't care.
And like, so you were fine pretty much the entire isolation period.
Yeah,
All right.
pretty much.
Nice,
Like
nice.
I could handle it. We went to classes.
Did you guys
online.
manage to get toilet paper, by the way, during that?
Yeah, we were
Yeah.
we were pretty fine on toilet paper.
Oh my god! Like,
There was one point where it was like a little low, but then we just like we got some.
because the thing is, right? My mom left, so it was just me and my little brother,
Yeah.
and so like we did not prepare for like the toilet paper shortage. And so, but we were very lucky because in Asia we have this thing called the hose. I'm sure you guys, for those Asian listeners out there, you know what I'm talking about. But basically, you get there's this hose in the toilet, and you just spray your
You
ass.
splash your butthole,
You
dude.
splash your butthole,
Yeah.
and it works just as well as toilet paper, if not better. I think it's probably better in my opinion. And then you kind of use like a little bit of toilet paper to just, dry yourself off or whatever. But then like, yeah, it's good. It was very useful during the pandemic. And we were also very lucky because our grandparents had stocked up on like a little bit of toilet paper so we could use that. And we're just like, oh man, that's great. I feel sorry for anyone who's like eating while watching, or like listening to this podcast.
There's like some countries still in isolation right now.
Oh yeah.
Right. Oh, right now. Oh yeah. Like, isn't some states aren't?
Yeah, it's still going on. We're just
Yeah.
lucky. We're really lucky.
And
Yeah.
Really
West
lucky in WA.
Yeah, we've been hanging out for a while now.
Yeah. What about you, Liam? How is your isolation?
Awful. I wanted to kill myself. I'm terrible without people. I'm
Same.
very much I need to basically stock up on the energy I get from being with my friends and people, and then I need that to maintain myself over periods of
Oh my God.
I luckily I'm not living alone. If I was, I probably would have, I don't know, cried myself to sleep every night. But no, I'm definitely not the best at being by myself. However, luckily, Discord saved me so many times.
Yeah.
And it was basically, like hanging out, playing games online over Discord or whatever. It's, it's pretty close to hanging out now,
And once the restrictions closed, we did end up like hanging out at my place.
Yeah. But before that, remember I called you a couple times and I was like, this is not fun. And you were like, I know. Jason's like, I'm chill, which is great. I wish I could do
the
that.
Introvert of the group is just like, I'm chill, guys.
I'm good.
It was interesting. I used the time to just, I don't know, catch up on some movies. I was watching, we were talking about movies for a bit, and it was fun.
Oh, yes.
It was different.
I introduced you to Clad.
Yes, Aaron, Brandon, this guy over here.
Yeah.
Brandon started getting me into some interesting, different anime. Yeah, that was what I was like. Just the reason why was because it gives us something extra to talk about. Gives me an excuse to talk to my friends more. But no, it was an interesting time. I think maybe it helped a little bit of getting used to being alone.
Yeah.
But no, I've never been too great at it. I didn't get hit with like depression or anything, but it just wasn't fun. I wasn't at my peak energy levels, I'd say.
Yeah.
What about you?
The thing that really got me through it, I think, was the fact that so all the gyms closed down, right? And when that happened, I just went on this Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what to call it. Like,
Binge?
Is that a binge? Haul? Whatever. Like, I literally just went on Facebook Marketplace and like just got like all of the gym equipment secondhand that I could find, and like I got like this power tower for like a super cheap price, and that is pretty much what got me through the pandemic, was just like being able to
buying shit off Facebook Marketplace
and like being able to like exercise at home. Because like I think if I wasn't able to do that, if I wasn't like moving in any way, I would have struggled mentally like really hard. And yeah, I you know what I should have done though? I should have been reading more. I've only started reading like quite recently because recently I joined this book club thing. But I should have been, I feel like I should have been reading more, but like other than that, I think Discord definitely
always helps me out, for sure.
Yeah. And yeah, you know what? Not gonna lie, there was some tension between me and my little brother, just the two of us, like being here. Yeah,
because your mum was stuck, right?
Yeah, she was overseas. She was stuck overseas. Yeah. And so him and I, we hadn't really lived together for a while. So our parents divorced when I was 15 and he was 9, so we're 6 years apart. And when that happened, I decided to move to Perth on my own, and I like lived with like homestay families and things like that. And we only really reconnected and started living together again like maybe a year or two ago. And so this was the first time that we had been like really alone together. And we just fought over like the dumbest shit. Like he would come up to me and be like, "Oi, Brandon, you didn't take the compost out." That's my Jun impression. Is that what Jun doesn't sound like that?
And then you beat him up.
No, I freaking, so he legit like one morning, right? Like legit like pulled the sheets off of me and like
threw the compost on you
and woke me up and was just like, "Brandon, you didn't take the compost out." And I was just like, "What the fuck?" And like I screamed.
Yeah.
But like, oh man, it was a struggle. It was a struggle. Thankfully we're over that. We've apologized to each other. We're good now. But like,
good.
Oh man, dude, like I think what really challenged me was having to deal with my little brother. That was pretty much it.
Fair
But like
enough, yeah.
definitely a good skill set to have, you know, like learning how to deal with people that you live with and having to deal with them for pretty much like all day because you can't go out, right? There's no like, you know, like it's COVID, you know, you got to stay inside and you pretty much have to do everything together, like grocery shopping, cleaning the house, all of those like household chores. You got to do that together. And it's just like, oh man. Well, it definitely taught me a lot about how to deal with him in particular. I'm not entirely sure if that's applicable to other people, but let's hope it is. But yeah, that was just one of the struggles that I had to deal with throughout COVID. Did you guys have any like actual like, well, I mean, I know you like not being able to see your friends or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, were there any like other struggles with dealing with the people that you actually lived with?
No, not at all.
I don't think so. I think that I get along with my brothers pretty well, and I installed a lock in my door. I think this year, so like I could just lock my door. Like I have everyone's locks in the house. Every room has a lock, and then there's a key that opens it from the outside, but the key is off somewhere, some random place. But then my door's the only door that has a lock, but then it doesn't have a key. It just has this thing where you can just open it from the outside. Like if you have like a screwdriver or something, or a coin, or a fucking knife, and it's like everyone could just come in my room if they want to.
Nice.
So I installed a deadbolt, and then no one can get it. And now I can just be alone for a bit. But yeah, I liked hanging out with my brothers. We like watched movies and played games and stuff. It was dope.
Yeah.
Cool.
But you know, like I think, and I obviously have a weird, kind of not wacky, but a little, sort of not great relationship with my parents. You know what I mean? Or my dad in particular, he's always critical of me and mad dogging me all the time. So there's that, but other than that, I was fine. I'm used to that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I don't know. Your parents are like first generation Australian, right? Like, because my family that's been here, they've been here since like, so my grandparents were the first one to immigrate here. Yeah. So my parents are like really like westernized, I think. Yeah. Particularly my mom, and so, like, I don't think that I would have like the same sort of like struggles in terms of like miscommunication as you would with your parents. Yeah. But so yeah, I think I don't know. Do you feel like that's where it mostly comes from, just like miscommunication?
I guess I don't know. It's just like I don't know. It's just I think like my parents' Filipino culture or whatever.
Right.
Like they have sort of different kind of values and expectations of you.
Right.
And it's very different to like the way that I grew up in Australia and whatnot.
Right. Yeah.
And so yeah, that's just been like a difference in perspective and values really like drove a wedge between us, I think. But not too badly. I still care about my parents and whatnot. But there was a pretty significant thing that happened, I think, this year, right? I was just like, my parents.
Yeah.
We'll talk about later, dude.
We'll talk about that later. We'll get into that in a bit.
'Cause that's a whole story within itself.
Yeah, that's a whole podcast within itself.
That's a whole episode.
Pretty much, yeah. Well,
Get on Easter, dude.
Let's actually just real quick. Let's get into our backgrounds real quick because we haven't really talked about that. We just kind of talked about like the year, but basically, I'm Brandon. I'm 21, and I am ethnically Chinese, and if you want to get into specifics, my dad's side is they immigrated from Taiwan and they went to Brunei, and my mom's side she's Hakka, and her family went from Malaysia to Australia, and yeah, like I grew up pretty much half here in Perth and half in Brunei. And that's why I have this weird mixed accent. It's mainly American though, but I can switch on the bogan when I want to. But yeah, this is. I feel like I have a very interesting background, because it's just kind of like I know what it's like to grow up in both Australia and Asia, and yeah,
Which do you prefer?
I don't know. Oh, definitely Australia. But like, I had a bit of like an identity crisis like growing up, because I didn't know whether I was Australian or Bruneian or Chinese. And it was just like a lot of like, there were just all these like different cultures in my life, and not to mention the different dialects that my parents speak, and the fact that like I can't really speak Chinese very well, like any of those dialects, like I can't speak any of them proficiently, and English is my only like proficient language. And growing up like that, you know, I think I was judged pretty hard by like my family members, particularly like my extended family. Like in Hokkien, there's this word called angmo, and like it basically is like a derogatory term for white people, and they called me that all the time because I couldn't speak Hokkien. And yeah, that was pretty much my childhood. I was never, and even like when I was going to school here in primary school, I was always too Asian for the white kids. So I was like either too Asian or not Asian enough. I was never like enough of one to actually fit in with either of them.
Yeah.
And it was tough. It was tough growing up, but you know, it's led to me having this very diverse background and perspective, and a very unique perspective, and I feel like that's worth it, in my opinion. And I'm proud of who I am and who I've become.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
I'm Jason. I'm 20, younger than these two, and I was born and raised in Australia. And my parents are both Filipino, who met in Australia actually, and so that's how I was born here in Australia. I feel you on that though, because like even though I was born and raised here, there was like a weird, because like my parents know a bunch of Filipino people.
Yeah.
And I also grew up Christian, by the way. Let me add that. So like my parents they go to church with a bunch of Filipino people.
Right.
Who all like migrated here or whatever, and like when I hung out with them, like same thing. It's just like I didn't relate as much to them. I couldn't speak the language. I didn't like the food or relate to their own experiences. And then like when I go to school with a bunch of like the white kids, I didn't like necessarily relate to them either. Especially when I went to a smaller private school. A bunch of white Australian kids, so like you didn't really relate. I was more part of the misfit group, but there was still like white Australian kids, but it was fine. They're cool. So that was my experience, but I sort of grew to love that unique part of myself. Being like, I don't belong to any one group. I'm just like my own person. That's how I view it, and like my own kind of identity in that regard. So
I think a lot of us like immigrant kids are kind of have a similar situation going on, and there's a really good skit by Wong Fu Productions. Definitely recommend for you guys to watch this, but it's called In Between, and it's literally our situation, just like that in between, like you don't know where you fit in, but I guess we'll just have to fit in there, you know.
Fit in the in between.
Fit in the in between, yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Liam?
I'm 21, Australian, born and raised.
Yup.
Both parents, one side's English, one side's Scottish, so both British. I'm not part anything that's not white, so yeah. Look,
Hey, that's chill.
I don't really have the same sort of upbringing that you do, but I never quite. I think because I traveled a lot and came from a European background, just our approach to life, my family was always different from the other, long-term Australian families that were always very outdoor orientated, and I don't know. I was raised traveling a lot, so saw a lot of different cultures, grew up around a lot of different cultures, and so I guess I found after graduating high school, I really vibed more and just related a lot more to usually non-Australians. I'd say right now, the vast majority of my friends are not Australian in their heritage.
Yeah, like
they're born
those guys that were like here since the first fleet.
Yeah. So I have a large diversity of friends, which is great. But I think I found after leaving high school, I sort of just got along with so many people, and I think that's because maybe I wasn't too dedicated to being around a certain type of person or a certain.
It's really funny because we've made this joke so many times, but it's like you're so Asian for a white person, dude. Like like first off, like you're into. I
traveled to Asia a lot as a kid.
A lot as a kid, but like you're into bubble tea.
Yeah,
like that was like the biggest.
I also love spicy food. I can handle spice better than
me, dude.
I don't handle spicy food at all.
Yeah. So interesting background. Glad I had it though, because I think it's led to me being a lot more open minded than I think some of the other people I graduated with.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of them stuck to their own sort of groups and their own sort of activities. Which is fine, but that's just not really me. So, but yeah, I wouldn't have been here. So, hey.
No, it's awesome.
Fun
times.
Awesome,
dude.
And that's our diverse cast of podcasters.
As
here,
in,
boys.
Yep, exactly.
No, that's cool.
Different perspectives.
We are like all completely different in terms of our backgrounds. But we came together because we have a very similar mentality to things in the sense that we're all quite open people. And we're all quite, I don't know, we've all discussed this, that we have always, like, I guess, desired to have deeper connections with people. But that was just not facilitated prior to us meeting, if that makes any sense, right?
To a degree, yeah.
Yeah. Because, well, for me in particular, like, I remember throughout high school or just throughout my life in general, I've always tried to engage in more like deeper discussions and more like intellectual discussions and things like that. But my peers were just kind of never, this sounds kind of douchey, but like
Here we go again.
we're never up to that. Like they didn't want to talk about that stuff. They were always like trying to talk about like surface level stuff. Like, I don't know. Hey, did you see like this TikTok? Or like, hey, look at this meme, man. Like, I'm just like, okay, but like, what about what's happening in your life though? Like, I don't know. Like, are we just memes? Is that what we are?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. I've always wanted to have like these more intimate and deeper discussions, and when we formed the LBJ, which is an acronym for Liam, Brandon, and Jason, like that was just it was just a safe space where
it's a weird cult.
It's a weird
Don't listen
cult.
to him.
It just came together because like no one else wanted to hang out or whatever.
Yeah, no one else wanted to hang out, and then
That's not true.
What was
That's
it?
putting it in such a negative light.
oh, true.
No, you just had beef with some of our other friends. So we're like, hey, we'll just hang out all us three then.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
hence we all just got closer, separate from our,
Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
True, yeah.
Because we
fair
were
enough.
still friends with you. We still liked you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I appreciate that because
So it's all Brandon's fault.
it's all my fault that we became friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. But yeah, that
And
was.
here we are, dude.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this is the podcast with us three. A
Yeah.
branch of our thoughts and conversation.
Yep.
Yeah. Why not, dude?
All right. So how?
This is like a fucking recorded version of it. It's
Yeah.
just like that's all
Yeah.
we're doing. Yeah.
Pretty much. So
What's the time?
Is there? Yeah.
There's
No, I know what the time
there's
is,
an
but
hour and 50 minutes. An hour and 50 seconds.
okay.
Wait, what?
Hour and 50 seconds.
Okay.
We've been going for an hour and 50 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's an hour and 1 minute now.
So we've done.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm
So
just leaving
thanks for
some
listening.
room. I was leaving some room for editing space or whatever.
You have a whole other hour worth.
It's all good. All right. Thank you for listening to the first episode of the podcast where we recapped, sort of, in an enough way, 2020 and what's going on.
Yep.
Happy New Year, everyone who's listening to this. Go do your resolutions or whatever
Yep.
and stick to them.
hopefully you stick to them.
Oh,
I don't know. I don't
Hopefully
believe
you
in
bang that
resolutions.
chick who gave you a New Year's kiss.
Woo!
I'm kidding, dude.
Do it for the boys.
Do it for stay. And we'll see you next week, or in like 15 minutes for us or something.
Yeah.
Is that crazy, dude?
For
Yeah.
us, it'll be 15 minutes, but for them, it's next.
Yep.
It's crazy, dude.
let's do
Crazy.
it. Let's go, boys.
All right. Thanks so much for
Thank you.
listening, guys. We'll see you. We'll see you next week.
Whoop, hold up. Future Jason here. Before we go, I would just like to ask, if you like this podcast, please support us in any way you can by subscribing to our iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, liking the videos, giving us 5 stars on iTunes, and just sharing it with your friends. Just doing one of those things would really help us out. Once again, thanks for listening. Have a good day. And end.